Hey, what's going on, my goats? Welcome back to another video. My name's Scotty. Today we're reviewing a movie called Motor City. This film is directed by Pozzi Ponsaroli. Pozzi Ponsaroli, that's who directed this movie. Written by Chad St. John. Chad St. John is the writer. This film is starring Alan Ritchson, Ben Foster, and what's that woman's name? She's not even in the top cast on IMDb. I don't care enough. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I watched this movie yesterday. I wasn't feeling that good, so I didn't make the review yesterday. Instead, I'm going to make the review video today. And given some time to think about this movie, the more and more it just pisses me off, okay? I was not a fan of this movie, and I'm going to try to keep this video a lot shorter than the Odyssey review, but we're just going to get right into it, get my thoughts down. Also, real quick, just like the Odyssey review, I just want to warn you guys, there will be spoilers in this video. There's going to be a lot of them in this one, so make sure you tread carefully. Make sure you tread with caution. So, first let me give you a brief synopsis of this movie. Alan Ritchson plays this character. He's an auto worker, and he falls in love with this gangster's girl in Detroit, okay? In, like, the 70s, like, around 75, 76. And the gangster ends up putting this frame job on him to send him in prison, and he gets his girl back. And the whole movie is about him plotting his revenge, getting his revenge back. He's angry. He's buff and he's angry. I'm gonna be honest, the trailers had me pretty excited for this movie, but I gotta say, it was such a letdown. It was so just uneventful. It was so boring. Half the movie is just not even half, like 80% of this movie is an absolute slug to get through. And the parts that are better, it doesn't work well enough to let me forget about the like 70 minutes that I just wasted watching this movie, okay? It starts pretty cool, but after that, it just gets further and further and further downhill. It's honestly quite irritating. I am a person who will never walk out of a movie. It's kind of like it's a mindset I have. Like, I spent this money, I'm not going to walk out in the movie. I'm going to see it all the way through, see if my opinion changes. But I watched this film with my girlfriend, and the entire time I was sitting there with her thinking, like, why are we here? What are we doing, you know? But I'm gonna get the good parts out of the way of this movie, and the only good thing this movie has for it going is its soundtrack. If only the movie was half as good as its soundtrack, then it would be somewhat entertaining. The soundtrack is really good, and the movie is not good, is basically what I have to say. The soundtrack is the only good thing going for this movie, and the soundtrack is the one thing that kept me from giving this movie 0 stars out of 5. First, I'm going to get into the writing. So the movie is written in a way where there is 0 dialogue. Like, there's maybe 4 or 5 lines in this entire movie, and it's just like 3-letter sentences, 1 to 3-letter phrases, I guess. The entire movie is basically like, it's not a silent film, but like none of the actors have any lines. You just hear the sound effects and the music. And while it is a cool idea in concept, the writing and the performances don't do enough to convey emotion that helped me care about the rest of the story. You can't blame the performances entirely because of the way the film is written and how little there is to work with, but like the entire film, you're just watching a sequence of stuff happening, but to be completely honest, not much really happens at all, because almost the entire movie, it feels like, just takes place in this prison. The movie is paced so poorly. The first 10 minutes kind of like, maybe the first 10 to 20 minutes kind of built, like, they set up the whole movie pretty slowly in that fact as well. And then the movie ends a little bit faster than the middle portion of the movie after the starting, but the fight sequence that happens at the end of the movie is so anticlimactic and enraging to me and boring that it really doesn't help at all. For like most of the movie, it's just Alan Ritchson in prison with his hair all grown out and this long beard. It's kind of chud, I'm not gonna lie. And it's basically just like this humiliation ritual of like, oh, look, this dude stole your girl. Let's get angry about that. And like, yes, he's getting angry, but like, it's just, I don't feel any of the emotion that you should feel when something like that happens to a main character, you know? It's all just like, it doesn't do a good enough job to immerse me and help me feel what he's going through. And I think part of that is due to the lack of dialogue. I feel like if he was able to discuss his emotions and things like that, it would help. You watch a whole lot of nothing for the whole movie, and then you finally get to this final action sequence, Alan Ritchson has two friends from, I want to say, Vietnam, that are they help him escape prison. And like once you get to the point where he's escaping prison, they never show you the plan. They just show you torturing this guy, and he's like writing stuff down, and then it's like, okay, now we're breaking him out, and it's like, cool. Oh my gosh, this movie's so bad. The breaking out sequence is very boring, very uneventful. You have there's no feeling of stakes or anything like that. You know exactly what's gonna happen. But then his two buddies, when this action sequence starts, basically die like immediately. And like this whole movie, they try giving everybody so much aura, and then they just die instantly, and it's like, okay. And then you get to this sequence where Alan Ritchson is fighting this like higher up police officer that was helping the gangster like cover up and stuff like that. They get in this elevator together and they start fighting. Honestly, the fight starts off pretty intense. Not intense enough to make the past 80 minutes you just watched worth it. But then they get to this point where Alan Ritchson stabs the dude's hand into the floor of the elevator. And it's like pinned down to the elevator. And the dude starts pulling his hand back, and it's like, I'm pulling my hand, I'm slicing half of my hand with a knife, and it's like, okay, that's kind of badass that he's gonna do that. And then and it's like the movie is framed away. It's like the movie is still framed on the knife, and then he's pulling his hand out of the knife or whatever, and then they start fighting again, and then the movie just stays framed on this freaking knife instead of showing the fight. Yeah, that's a cool knife, sure. You know what else would be cool? Showing me the movie! Showing me the fight! The thing that this whole boring movie is built up for. But instead we stay like 15 seconds focused on this freaking knife. It made me so mad when that happened, bro. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then they finally start they finally start showing the rest of the fight scene. It ends really quickly. Okay, so let me give you this little bit of info. My girlfriend is someone that doesn't like violence, and she's told me before she won't watch certain movies because of the violence in them. She doesn't like watching it. So we're watching this fight scene, and she's laughing because of how bad the choreography is. And like there's no talking, so it's just two big men grunting while they're hitting each other the entire time. There's no discussion, there's no dialogue, and she's legit laughing. And then Alan Ritchson shoots the dude's leg off with a shotgun, and I was expecting my girlfriend to be like, oh, it's so gross, ugh. But they show the dude's nub of his leg, and it looks so fake that she just starts laughing. She bursts out laughing. Yeah, I just thought that was so funny, and that just shows how bad this movie is. But yeah, he shoots the dude's leg off, and then I think he stabs him or something like that. I can't remember. But he's dead, and the elevator gets to the top floor of this building. And then he throws the dude off of the building onto a car, which allows the gangster to crash. And it's like, okay, he's gonna go over here. He's gonna F up this gangster. He's gonna give it his revenge. Revenge served. You know what I mean? He gets down there. He stands right in front of the gangster's car and just pulls out one of the shotguns and is just like, come at me, bro. I'm dead ass. You are the car? He's just like, sorry, I have to kind of bend down. Let's say you guys are the car. I just spilled an energy drink. Let's say you guys are a car, like the car. Alan Ritchson grabs his shotgun while the dude's still awake, and he just goes, come at me, bro. My brother in Christ. What sense does that make? So then the gangster is like, oh, he's standing right in front of me. I'm going to drive my car into him. Okay? So he drives forward, and Alan Ritchson jumps onto the hood of the car, and then he's like hanging on to the hood of the car like, whoa, this has never been done before in a movie. I've never seen this in my life. He starts getting into a position where he could shoot the gangster, so the gangster slams on the brakes. And then he flies off, and he's like, whoa, and he shoots the gun. And mind you, they showed this sequence where they were filling the shotgun shells with pennies and the wedding ring and stuff like that he proposed to his girlfriend with before he got arrested. So he's like, woo, boom! And then the pennies and the wedding ring fly out, and they penetrate the windshield, and they contact the gangster's face, but none of them go through his skull like you would think a bunch of pennies shot out of a sawed-off shotgun would, you know? No, instead he just gets like a bunch of cuts on his face. Okay! So then they drag out this sequence even more, where the gangster ends up driving off, and he runs, and he jumps into the car, and then there ends up being this giant car crash, And then he has to, like, he's pulling himself over to the car. He's gonna finish the gangster. And the gangster just disappears after they crashed a car in a convertible, mind you, where it was flipped. So the top of the convertible was like scraping on the road. How are either of them alive? Okay. So then the movie cuts to black. It shows the gangster, but he's an old dude, right? And he's still living in the same exact house that Alan Ritchson already knew that he lived in. And the dude's maid brings him out this box that Alan Ritchson, it turns out, had sent him, but like old Alan Ritchson. And he opens the box, and it's like a newspaper of the report when he got arrested, and it's like, it was hard to find you. Okay. He's literally living in the same house that you penetrated earlier in the movie. But yeah, it's so hard to find him. And then he ends up walking inside and he's like, oh, I'm scared. And then you see buff old Alan Ritchson with some of the worst old person makeup on you've ever seen in your life. The guy's like, I loved her. And then Alan Ritchson's like, I still do. And then he shoots the shotgun, and you don't even see him get shot. You don't see the aftermath. You don't see anything. It just cuts to black, and then the movie ends. It probably is deserving of half a star just for the soundtrack alone, but I gave it 1 star on Letterboxd. Man. I'm sorry. Discussing that movie to you guys pissed me off even more. It does nothing to immerse the audience. It is not engaging for 80 to 85% of the movie, and then when it is engaging, it's only like half engaging at best, because it's some of the most mediocre action you've ever watched in your life. The cinematography does nothing to captivate you or keep you like, oh, at least it looks good. It's like boring in that regard. I hated this movie. I'm gonna be so dead serious. This movie was not fun at all. I was really disappointed. I thought the trailers looked cool, and the trailers led to you to believe that it was going to be like this crazy action movie, but there's only action at the end of the movie. There's nothing else. And the action at the end of the movie, again, sucks. It sucks. I am so mad. Yeah, I gotta stop talking about this. I'm gonna freak out soon. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for the video today. If you like the review, please leave a like. Leave me your thoughts about Motor City below. Maybe you liked it more than I did. If you like the video today, please leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you'd like to see more content coming up soon. We've got a lot of movie content on the way. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video, guys. Peace out. I'll see you later. Love you guys. Bye.